Well, isn't it just a breath of fresh air to see these beautiful papers? It's from the brand new collection by Hot Off the Press of Tulips and Butterflies. And because this is the last Sunday of the month, we have a brand new webisode with a brand new collections, all of this right here and right now. Will you please come play with us? I hope you're sitting down because there is just a lot in this collection, and I've got some beautiful things. I've got 5 projects for you from our Teresa. So let me just go over briefly what the contents are. So the 12 by 12 pattern cardstock with 12 sheets, also 42 cutouts that are all coordinated, and there is a what we call a product video on the product page that shows everything up close and personal. So if you want to see that, just click below on any of the Tulips and Butterflies items and you'll go to the product page. Any of them will do, and I walk you through everything. So that we got that. We also have the coordinating solid cardstock, 12 colors on 12 sheets, so that is going on. We also have the 31 cutouts. They're on 2 separate sheets. Again, everything is coordinated. We have the 6 by 6 Tulips and Butterflies, which is the same artwork, just scaled down. You're going to get 24 sheets and 84 cutouts because everything is just doubled. We have the the chipboard, and there are 14 designs on this. And Teresa actually asked us if we would make some chipboard that had more of a surface to color on. So we did, and wait, can I show you what she did? The first time we've done this, we have butterflies, because this is Tulips and Butterflies, in a stencil. So let me show you about that. And then we have some cutting dies, and Deanna has done tulips for us. Now, when she is designing the cutting dies for us, she really looks at what else is out there in the market because she doesn't want to duplicate it, and she wants to give something that has great value. Now, there are so many pieces in this you can see, but what she's done is she's given us a way to use them. So whether you're making a bud or a full flower, everything is right here, and the steps are right on the back. Teresa said they were very easy to follow and gave beautiful results. Now, they've got the tulips. We decided to add butterflies to this. The design team really wanted to have butterflies in different sizes, and they wanted to have the solid backing to be the same size as the butterfly, so it's not sticking out beyond it. So that's what we've done. They go from 1.5 inches wide to 2 1/8 inches wide. So you've got all of those there. Now, before I get into Teresa's projects, I do want to share a scrapbook page because I think it's important that our scrapbookers get some attention after all. So you can see this paper has all of the artwork just really around it, and beautiful butterflies in the background, and a perfect place for doing your photos. So there are cutouts that come from the paper pack, the solid cardstock, as well as just everything coordinating. So all of that is there. Okay, let's get into Teresa's. We're going to start with this card. And before I get into the cutting die, let me just talk a little bit about the papers that she's chosen and why she's chosen them, because that's somewhat helpful. So let me show you. The papers, in fact, the one that was used on the scrapbook page, you can see in the background there are light colored butterflies. Well, that's on the back of this sheet, so they coordinate perfectly, and that's the sheet that Teresa has elected to use on the front of this card. So that works nicely because you still get the butterflies and you still get the colors, but they're not going to dominate on top of the cutting die. The happy birthday is a cutout from the papers, and that works nicely. Now let me show you just for a second what's going on the inside. So there's also the papers. More you're seeing the tulips there, and again, another of the cutouts. So we'll go back to this. Okay, so Teresa has used that. Then she's gone into, and it's a little bit hard to see, so let me scoot this away. There is a strip here of the blue pattern, and it is right here. And it kind of gets covered up by the tulips, but she wanted to have it there. If you wanted to, you could just have a strip of the solid cardstock, so that would be fine. And we're going to place that there. It's about 1 inch wide. By the way, Teresa always gives complete written instructions, and you will see them when you go down below and click on any of the projects. Then you will see the instructions over on the right-hand side, and you can print them off if you want to. So that's a nice benefit. Now, the other thing that she's done is she's placed a piece of vellum. And vellum is something we are very fond of here at Paper Wishes, and the design team is too. And we do have it in this package of 6 by 12 sheets. You get 10 of them, and she just cut it to size and then glued the left side down, and then did her strip of pattern cardstock, matted on cardstock, and glued those on top. This is left unattached, and that works just perfectly well. So just wanted you to know that. So just glue it on the left and you'll be good to go. Now, oh, I thought I would show you this, because this is the happy birthday cutout, a nice size that will fit right there, foam taped on top. Okay, now going into the cutting die and going into the solid papers, let me just show you what Teresa elected to use. So she has the green, of course, that's going to go for the leaves, but on this cardstock, you get a lighter shade on the back of it. So you get 2 greens on 1 sheet, and you get 2 sheets. So that works out well. So you can see the red. There's also a kind of a magenta. I guess this would be the red and this would be the magenta on another sheet. And on the pink, you're going to guess it. You're going to get this color and then a lighter shade on the back side. So that allows us to give you 12 colors on 12 sheets, because each sheet has 2 colors. It just works so well. And of course, you're just using little pieces of it with the cutting die. But that's what she's done. And the blue that's in there for that butterfly is the same blue that she used over here. So that worked nicely. Now, what to do with the tulips. So I'm going to bring in my mat just to kind of let you know what Teresa did. So I've got some of the pieces that she has cut out, and I'm going to bring in a bone folder, and I'm going to bring in my blending brushes. And what did we ever do without blending brushes? Now, what Teresa has done, and I'm not going to do every single one because I've got so much more to share with you, but I just want to give you the process. So as you cut out the pieces, then you can put them together according to the diagram that Dee has provided for us. But before that, do you see the shading that's been done on the flowers? So they're a little bit darker on the edges, and that is accomplished so easily. So here I have the, let's see, this is the light pink right now. I'm going to use the plum jam. Here's plum jam. So, oh, let me tell you, I've got plum jam, pine tree, obviously is going to go on the stems and leaves, and then Bordeaux. So the Bordeaux is going to go on the red pieces, and you can kind of see why. It's kind of a darker brownish red. The plum jam is going to go onto the light and dark pink. So let me just grab a blending brush. And these are Spectrum Noir water reactive dyes. And you do want to start over here on the mat and then just start bringing it in. And you can see what that is doing. It's just shading it just effortlessly. So there we have it, and I hope you can see that. Steve, can you get a little bit closer? And you don't have any marks on it, so it's just because the brush is coming from the outside in, and it just does a really, really effortless job. So there you go, and you would just do that on the outsides of your pieces. And you might want to just go ahead and do it on both edges. Just that way you can turn them and do all sorts of things. Leave the lighter color on the center and that will work perfectly. So again, and you'll see it in the instructions, the plum jam is done on the pinks, the Bordeaux is done on the red pieces, and of course the pine tree is done on the green pieces. So the other thing that Teresa's shared is that the bone folder is used to kind of curve these pieces. So after you've used your blending brush, you can just gently curve them. It's just that simple. It's kind of like curling ribbon, but use your bone folder and that will work. And then what you're going to get, let me scoot all of this over for the moment, and you can see that there is a shape to these ever so gently. And you can see the darker edges on the red and on everything. Beautifully done. Now the butterfly is also matted, not matted, it was cut out of vellum, and then the lacy top was cut out of blue. On the inside of the card, we have one out of the red, and again, the vellum under it. So no using of scissors here, it just works perfectly. Okay, so that is our first card. For a very different look, let me show you the second card. Isn't this gorgeous? Now, what Teresa has used on this card is the Iridescent Papers. Now, we get these from Holland, and we call them iridescent, not sparkling, but you get, let me think, it's 7 sheets, I think, in here. And this is what the iridescent looks like. They kind of shift color. Can you see? And there's all sorts of colors in here, but she has used the tulip cutting die with them. No inking this time, but the same thing, a little bit of curving with the bone folder. Now, this is a similar layout to the first card. The first card had a panel on the left. This card has a panel on the right. That's a good technique. Thank you, Teresa. But the first card, they kind of went up that panel. Here, the panel is really just a holding place for that bouquet that is going up. We are also getting cutouts right there. The paper that she used is this sheet. Let me bring it in to show you. Again, it has this very watercolor look, which is true of the entire collection. And you can see that she started it right there. And that's what she used for cutting the front of her card. The back side of this sheet is this one, which she did not use this time. And this green one is what she used for that 1-inch wide panel that she matted on white. And all of the cards are normal size, 5 inches by 6.5. And as you know, we have the blank cards and envelopes to work with that. Now this butterfly was also cut out of the iridescent. No backing, it's just laying, and just the body has been attached to the card itself. Now there is something else going on, and there is a doily, a paper doily back here. And Teresa loves using these. Actually, the design team loves using them. And it just gives a nice backing. It also gives us a round shape going with all of these straight lines. And Teresa really recommends using the sticky specs to attach not only many of the cutting die pieces, but also the doilies. So that works well. And as you probably know, all you'll do is take the sticky specs. I'll move that sheet out of the way and pull back, put your doily right on top, press this down gently. You don't have to attach it hard because it'll work nicely, and then lift up your doily or cutting die and position it on your card, your page, whatever you're doing, and it will hold even all of those little intricate pieces perfectly. Okay, let's go back to our card and the inside of it. For the inside, you do see a burst of the tulips, and it comes from this sheet. And as you can see, she cut it right here. She matted it onto that gold that is in the solid cardstock. Another doily is there, more of the cutouts, and another of the butterflies. This is out of the pink iridescent. So the iridescent, sometimes you forget things that, you know, we've had just forever and ever, but they're such good solid pieces. And with so many cutting dies using flowers, it's nice to remember that this is another suggestion, another thing that you can go with it. Okay, now, how about our next card? With this one, we're going to move into using the stencil. Okay, now the stencil, as I showed you, looks like this. And I just wanted to share a couple things about the stencil. So there it is in the package, so you're just seeing the colored paper back through it. If you wanted to do it out of just one color, this is what it would look like. But Teresa has instead used the stencil on top of patterned paper, and I just think it's such a brilliant idea. Now let me show you what she's done. Well, you can see I brought a few more things in here. So I've got my craft mat, I've got a piece of the pattern cardstock, and I've attached it with the low-tack tape. You can tell who this is from, can't you? Hunky-dory. Now, here is my stencil. I'm going to also position that with a couple pieces of the tape, just so that it doesn't go sliding around. Now, what I love that Teresa did is that she used two colors of ink pads. So this is Plum Jam and Damson Wine, and she has used them each going through the stencil. And I think the idea of doing the stencil over a pattern paper just is going to give more depth. So that's fun to have, and you can see that this is just, it's no difficulty in doing this whatsoever. I'll go ahead and flip over to the other, just to bring some of that. You can let them blend as you're going through. You just want to make sure that you are getting some of the color onto the ink pad. Now, I am not going to do this entire sheet because it's just a repetition, and quite frankly, your time is too valuable to watch me do the same thing over and over. But let me just lift this up, and you can see what's going on. So it just does a beautiful look, and I think it is another way to use the stencils, and I think sometimes we forget about stencils. Now, one other tip I want to give you is that the stencil has been designed so that the imagery will repeat. So just like I have it on this sheet. So this is the stencil to begin with. Let me see. I'll bring this one back in so you can see that that starts there. But you can just bring it up, and you're going to get a whole nother look. Now, you may not have something you want to do that's that big, but instead of doing a 5 by 6.5 inch card, if you want to do a slim line, you've got enough butterflies to do that. And Teresa has done this with the two colors, with the plum and the damson. Here it is in pink, just on white, so you can see the depth that you get with the patterned cardstock. I would personally love to see it done in rainbows, so if you ever do the butterflies in rainbows, send me an image. I'd love to see it. Okay, so let's get back to our cards. So after you've done that to the patterned cardstock, we're going to go back to our card, okay? And this is, as I said, our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. We've taken the front, we've scored along the center and folded it, because this is an easel card. So let me show it to you. I kind of hid that, didn't I, as we were going into using the stencil. So what Teresa has done is the same paper that was used for the front of the card. She has used two pieces to go on each of those sections on the front of her card. And that worked really nicely. And you can see that this piece has been matted on white. Now we're back to the butterflies, and Teresa chose some really fun ideas to use. And this is the glitter. Now, obviously, this is the pink glitter, so you can see it. It has been placed on the Vellum solid butterfly. and that works nicely. But look at the blue butterfly. Now this is something we do carry it, but I don't think it's been used nearly quite enough. This is called a blue mix glitter, blue mix glitter. And you can see the variety of colors in that. It's definitely blue. There are highlights of pink in there. I can kind of see some purple too. So all of those have been placed on a solid that was done out of vellum. And it just is beautiful. It's just beautiful. That's all there is to it. So pink and blue mix. Now, this is one of the die cuts. Remember I showed you that you get 2 sheets. So Jump into Spring is one of them. It's right there. And the butterfly looks so nice. Now, Teresa also used a couple of things from Hunky Dory, and I will promise you that your sheets will be complete. I lifted this from the design team. So this is the pink shimmer sparkles and the blue, and she placed them, these are self-adhesive, and she placed them in the center of the butterflies as well as on her bow, and her bow was made using the magenta ribbon. Now the inside of her card, same thing with the butterflies. You can see heavier color at the top and more of the die cuts right there with the circle and the Love You. The Love You is right here. And the circle must be on the other sheet of die cuts. And then another of the butterfly in pink right there. So our easel is just standing tall and quite pretty. As you know, the piece on the inside, in this case the die cut, is on foam tape to act as a stopper to that front so it will stand up. Okay, I've got more. I told you the woman has been very busy. Here is a very different look of the tulips, and we'll take a look at this. They're in white, and they have been inked on the edge, again the blending brush, with the colors to add a little bit of pink and a little bit of purple too. So really pretty. Now this card, let me bring in my samples, starts with our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. Well, as I said, we're going to start with our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card, but what Teresa had us do, place the fold away from us, and then measure 3 3/4 inches from the left side. Then draw a line along there, and then you want to cut along that line. And the interesting thing is you end up gluing this piece down, just like that. You're going to glue that down. So the only part that's going to lift is this left side. Let me show you as I take the card and open it. So here we go. Just lift it there. And look what's going on the inside. Really pretty. Okay. The woman is in love with that tulip cutting dies, isn't she? Okay, so what's going on is that she is using the 6 by 6 papers this time. Now, let me show you. So on this area, on that left panel, this is the sheet that she used, and that just works perfectly. Now over here, she simply used the other side of the paper. That's going to work perfectly also. For this piece, which is a separate piece, here is the paper. She also mats this on white. And then she's going to use that white to die cut those tulips once again and give us some dimension to them with the ink. And she's also used the leaves going there. Again, that's part of the cutting die, so it just works beautifully. You have everything all in one package, as you should. And then she has also, I mean, you're seeing those butterflies, and that is a single sheet of Dazzles. There are a gazillion butterflies there in all different sizes in this glittery, shiny, holographic look, and you can see them as they are there. The Thinking of You is from the die cuts, and let me bring this here. There it is. You saw this one just a moment ago. And then as we go inside our card, well, obviously you can see that this piece, after it was matted, has been wrapped with white ribbon. That's the ribbon set. And then a bow has been placed and zotted on top. How pretty is that? Then on the inside, let me see, she has used more papers, and here is the one that is on the left side, right there. And on the right side, let me see, here we go, this sheet. So everything works, just oh so pretty. So as you open this, you have kind of this ghosted area here, kind of a watercolor, and on here you've got more of a pop of color, just very nice. The bring on the celebration, whether it's a spring celebration or anything, that is one of the die cuts, and that's all beautifully done for you. That's been glued down. You can see some of the tulips were done here. And I love how she just curved and lifted up the leaves with the bone folder, just as I showed earlier. We've got more of the butterflies. You can see the tiny ones. And then this is a cutout, the happy birthday. Again, bring on the celebration. Just beautiful, beautiful combination of allowing all of the elements to really shine. Okay, I have one more card and one more process for you. Look at this. Okay, and this is using our chipboard with alcohol. Yes, it is. But let me first begin with the card. And actually, I'm going to show you something else too, because this is what Teresa has done. And look at that beautiful garden that just unfolds. And the flowers are a little bit milder color, so she's allowed the papers to really pop. So that combination is really nice. And I just wanted to show you a different way that you can use this. She is using the markers with a spritzer filled with rubbing alcohol. I'll show you how to do that. This is what, let me see, Debbie did. And this is using the Pixie Sparkles. So that gives you another look too. I just love to share all the information with you. Okay, so we're going to start with this, and I'm going to give you the construction of the card base first. We're going to start with a 12-inch by 6-inch of the cardstock, the solid cardstock. From the left, measure 4 inches and then 8 inches. Use the scoreboard, which is sitting right here, just so that you know I actually have it and we use it, to score down those marks. Then you're going to fold it, mountain fold and valley fold, and then just let this sit down. Then you're going to cut another piece that is the 12 inches, but it's only 3 inches tall. This is the part that's going to go on the inside of the card. Actually, it wraps around to the front too. Same thing, measure 4 inches, 8 inches, do your scores, and fold it, mountain and valley. What's going to happen is after we get our papers on, and I will show you the papers next, you're going to take this piece, put the papers on it, and then this is going to get glued. Well, actually, we're going to use extra sticky tape. It's going to get attached there, and this is going to get attached here. It's going to stick out a bit. About an inch from the fold and an inch from the edge. So then you've got this mechanism that's really going to pop. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. I'm going to bring this back, but I do want to show you the papers that she used. I've asked you before if you like seeing them. You've said yes, so let me just share with you. So for the front of the card, she started with this paper. And again, this is the 6 by 6, just like the last card. And you can see that that's going to go right there. Very pretty. Because she's using the light blue from the solid cardstock, that is going to become the matte of all of these papers. Okay, we're going to ignore this piece right now, okay? So just stay with me. Then, so that piece goes there. For the center area, it's this piece. So it's got more of a watercolor look. Let's see. I think you're going to have to back up a little bit, Steve. Okay, there we go. And then this is the right side. And as you can see, the tulips down here and some at the top. So those three are what's used for the front, the center, and the inside of our card. Okay, so you can see that bright colors on the two extremes and more of a watercolor in the center. Now, what happens with this panel? This is used on the first part of it. You can see the tulips are right here. For the center panel, there's this one, and you can see the tulips are right here. Okay, so taking advantage of that center cluster. And then the right panel is right here. You can take the right side of the right panel. So those are all working. These are all the 6x6. Okay, now let's get to the chipboard. So here's the chipboard. Here's the chipboard, she says again. And again, Teresa recommended the tri-blend. This is the 24 pack. If that is just more than what you want, you can buy them individually, no problem. 3 colors in each one, as we've said. Now, you can pop out the chipboard pieces and then color them, or you can leave them in and let the coloring happen, so whichever you prefer. I'm just going to quickly do a couple of them, if I have my pens right here. And okay, so these are going to be some different colors, but that will work. Okay, so I'm going to use a lavender, and I'm just going to do this little one right here, so you can see it's going like that, and just going to color it straight. I'm not going to do anything more fancy with it, but just coloring. And you can see going over the edges, don't worry about it, because you're going to pop them out, and that will work. Now, if you wanted to, let's see, this is the lightest color. If you wanted to go to a darker one, you could let that be on the outside edge. And you could go back and blend it if you wanted to. Again, I know that this is running long, so I want to be careful of your time. And then this is a green, so I'm going to use the middle, that one, and just do a little bit of that, okay? So that's going to get us some color. The thing that I think is fun is that I'm used to Teresa using water and misting water onto it, but this time she has directed us to put rubbing alcohol into the mister. This is Stampendous. So what you do is you spritz it on, and as it does its magic, it's going to lighten areas and make them work. So we'll do that, let that happen, and we'll bring in a tissue and just blot that off and see what's happening with that. So it goes much lighter. Okay, so it's going to get kind of a mottled look to it, and that will work just fine. So spritz a little bit more. And let that set up. You can kind of see that it takes a moment to lift the color, but as you let that happen, and as you're smelling the alcohol, that will work quite well. And then when you're done, after that has dried, then you can just pop these out. You can kind of see how easily they pop out. You do want to let it dry because this chipboard is going to absorb that moisture, okay? So we have that, and you can play with that. So again, you can use water, you can use alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Both of them will work just fine. There are butterflies on there, and as I said, you'll do all the coloring, and then you'll glue them onto the card after that base, that little flap has been attached with extra sticky tape. And you can see, so she's got 2 right there, one over the other. That's perfectly fine. Got another one over the other right here. These little clusters, they work nicely. So all of it works together. Now she did add some dazzles. Just want you to see the sparkle. Get that for you. There you go. You see along the bottom and along the top. And of course the words. Now the words, My friend Missing You, that is done with the We're Together dazzles. These are the colorful ones, and this silver has been used. We have them in long script as well as stacked, as this is. And then for these thin lines there and there, she used the thin line dazzles, and these are the glitter ones, and lots of different colors in this. And again, it just adds a touch. It supports what's going on in your design without detracting from it. So top, bottom, and then along the bottom of this center area. And you can see how that extends out the same distance in the inside of the card as on the top of the card. So just beautifully done. Well, that is our Tulips and Butterflies, quite a collection. We have the Tulips and Butterflies 12 by 12 pattern, the 12 by 12 solid with all of those wonderful colors, the die cuts, as well as the 6 by 6. I know that's so popular. The chipboard, the butterfly stencil, the butterfly cutting dies, and the tulip cutting dies, all of that. Now, something else I just want to tell you, that over on the right side of your screen, you'll see a money saver, because we always want to share that with you. It works really nicely. But we also have something else, and that is subscriptions. So if you are interested and you'd really love it all, well, we have one that's called I Want It All. Now you will get everything except the stencil and the cutting dies. You'll get 20% off, and these will be sent to you so that you have them in your possession when we're doing the webisode. So that's great. It is monthly. It happens every month. And if you're interested, we would love to have you join it. Just click on it and you'll see that. Now, if you really want it all, that means including the cutting dies, there's another one. It's called I Really Want It All. And that is a different one. Again, you don't get the stencil. That's available separately. But you will get everything, including, in this case, the 2 cutting dies, the butterflies and the tulips. So that is something brand new, and I want to make sure that you know about it because we're very excited. Well, thank you for sitting with me through all of this. They're just beautiful projects, as Teresa always does. And I want to thank you. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Let us know if you like it. Click on like. And head on over to paperwishes.com. Take advantage of that money saver. See all the directions down below. Just click on the projects. You'll see them. And you can print those out and have them forevermore. And we want to thank you, as always, for being part of the Paper Wishes family. We'll see you next time.